Okay, everybody, it is of course myself, and I'm here, and I'm saying hello, and waving to you, and all that kind of stuff. Great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch back again one more time for another delightful video in which I will be explaining to you things which seem to be going on inside my mind with reference to the specific subjects at hand within this one particular channel. Of course, quick reminder, this entire channel is completely searchable. You can click on my channel name, click on the videos button, click on the search facility, and there is literally thousands of videos there about all manner of weird and wonderful subjects, all there for you to gain some inspiration from, and then to hopefully, think for yourself rather than necessarily just like believing what you see. Okay? I have to encourage everyone to be experimenters. I must not encourage everyone to be devout believers in anything, really. Okay. Subject of today's video is essentially something that I've been thinking about with reference to the writings of Dion Fortune, as well as reading other stuff about medieval magic and then trying to correlate some of that with personal experience. Firstly, I do not condone a lot of the attitudes and all the rest of that which is spoken of within forms of medieval magic, because unless it's just to do with like symbol creation and that sort of stuff, all the rest of it uses like bits of animals and bits of humans, and it's all really rather gross and disgusting, and of course thoroughly unnecessary. You have to also accept the fact that in the medieval world, people did what they thought were experiments, but weren't actually experiments. There was one story of a lady who ate a bee, I think it was, and hey presto, she stopped being able to have children, which she really, really needed to at the time, to be honest. So then from that, it was written down by someone, if you eat a bee, then hey presto, you don't have any more children ever again. It could actually be that she was just getting a bit old and a bit sort of like tired, and the body wasn't functioning as well by then, so she couldn't actually have any more children. She could have reached the menopause, there could have been all kinds of reasons for that, or maybe she had another illness which was kicking in at about the time, so that she couldn't then conceive thereon afterwards. But this is the way that people thought. So I think we can have a look at things such as like some of the aspects of what was written of in Nicholas Culpeper's Herbal, some of the aspects of the things written in a lot of the like medieval grimoires and the rest of that, with an appropriate level of pinch of salt, because these are people who are trying to understand the world, and they haven't really been given or have learnt any means of scientifically assessing stuff. It's just a question of like forms of coincidence. Oh, I picked up a yellow stone on that Tuesday, and then hey presto, my jaundice seemed to have got better. No, it's just that your jaundice was getting better anyway because of your natural healing processes inside your body, and hey presto, you just happen to have a yellow stone. Okay, that's superstitious thinking. But some of the superstitious thinking has ended up being written down, and some people are following it, and that's rather scary. But there is other aspects of medieval thought which, if we were to extract and remove and get rid of all of the gross stuff about like animal organs and pieces of human bodies and needing to get the dead carcass of a 2-year-old or something and then take its flesh and boil it down and make your ointment from that, yuck, 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 yuck. That's all bullshit. But what is interesting is within some of the healing writings, they speak about transferring the disease from the patient to something else. All right, then there are examples of people attempting to put the energy of the disease into running water, so the water would take it away, or into another animal, which would then be either killed or released into the wilds, and that would take it away. It's the idea of there's an energy or something inside the body which needs to be removed. Now, could this be, to a certain extent, in a small percentage based upon a certain degree of truth? Well, you could say that, because if you were to read Marcus Rothkrantz and other great healers, they all speak about removing toxicity within the body. But this appears to be a supernatural or a spiritual or an energetic form of sickness which is being removed from the body by the flowing of the water, or by taking something of that person and burying it with something which will eventually rot and take the disease away with it. There is some thinking there which appears to be right. Taking some miasmic force and reducing it, getting rid of it, and so on and so forth. The thinking has some validity. The methodology, not so much. However, let's also think about the story which Dion Fortune told about the time when she had a strange feeling on her, a negative feeling, and she couldn't quite shift it, but then she was walking in the park and all of a sudden, bam, the feeling suddenly left her. And she had a look on the plans of that park and saw that at the very same spot where she felt the negative feeling go, she was passing over water. Now, obviously, this is a very different situation because, Dion Fortune was just having like a bad emotional time for some reason, bit of negative energy in the energy field, and then she passed over water and the energy was taken out of her to a certain extent, thus making her feel different. The feeling was alleviated, and it was the flowing of the water which did it. So instead of thinking about like removing diseases, let's just think about the idea of removing energetic toxicity. The story that Dion Fortune told then was curious. Okay, she then said like, when it comes to allegations of medieval superstition, I must plead guilty. She said that. She's looking at the world in a different way. But in that one particular example, okay, it reminds me of a time when I personally had a lot of negative energy over me, and I did things like burning sage, putting my head over the sage smoke and feeling like lots of thousands of dark voices being lifted out of my head from the sage smoke. So in some respects there's something similar there, because the sage smoke was taking away the negative energy. I've had a similar experience when bathing in salt water, because salt water baths and sage, they're both supposed to remove negative energy from you. I've had similar experiences with some crystal healings that I've done, okay, in terms of negative energy being removed. So there is a sense there of the removal of negative energy, not the curative power over a disease, for such talk would be rubbish, wouldn't it? But the reduction of a negative energy in the body. I thought this was curious. I mean, the experiences I've had with the crystals, the salt water, with the sage incense smoke, it has some similarities with what was spoken of in those grimoires to a certain degree, but it was obviously on the level of energy rather than the level of physical disease and infection and all that other kind of stuff, which those medieval sorcerers were trying to get their head around, but they weren't getting their head around it because it's all like powdered liver of a dog and the thingy bob of the rat and the head of a bat, and you shove an owl's head on the end of your wand when doing your exorcism. It's all very disgusting, and it's all quite wrong. And from the outside looking at it, it's macabre, dark. There's no sense of connection between cause and effect. There's no real thought about cause and effect, because like in more modern scientific thinking, we have to try and work out what's causing the effects and repeat it over enough conditions to work out how likely that result was caused by the thing which you've introduced. Okay, there was none of that in the medieval mind. This is one of the reasons why you've got to be, on your toes when thinking about this stuff. Okay, you got to be thinking clearly and on the ball and capable of asking questions and getting deeper and deeper with your understanding and analysis. Anything simplistic is ridiculous about something which is complicated. All right. And of course, we never say the phrase "it works" because the descriptor is not compatible with the nature of the phenomena, so we stop using it. I will speak to you again soon. Good fortune, God bless, chill out, be at peace, and enjoy whatever it is you're enjoying at the moment. I don't know. Peace out.